Welcome back to Marketing for New Musicians. Today, we are going to discuss a challenging but important topic: dealing with people who obsess over your work, criticize you relentlessly, baselessly, or even try to undermine your presence online. Whether it's social media attacks, harsh reviews, constant comparison, many musicians and authors encounter this on their creative journey. The key is learning how to transform these negative experiences into motivation and growth. Their hatred can make you better. First of all, let's look at understanding obsession and envy. What are they? Because to me, it makes no sense. I'm so focused on my work, I don't have time to worry about other people. I don't look at other musicians and think, hey, I don't like you because you're doing well. I look at another musician who's doing well and I think, hey, I want to do as well as you're doing. I look at their success as an example and it inspires me. But when someone fixates on you or your work, it's rarely about you personally. It's often a reflection of their own frustrations, their own failures, their insecurities, and the other person's unmet goals. People who are stuck in patterns or envy or obsession are frequently focused on controlling or diminishing the things they see as unattainable. So, an example for me would be people in the United Kingdom, where I grew up, attacking somebody 6,000 kilometers away who hasn't lived in the UK for 6 years. I'm gay. I've had a difficult few years with creative work, and I've finally come out of the creative rut back into music and writing. And instead of seeing me as just a benign actor online, they've actively obsessed over me, to the point that it's become stalking and criminal. Which is bizarre, because rather than being obsessed with someone because they could be, they could go, oh wow, that's a good example of someone who turned things around. From my perspective, it's completely irrational. They have opportunities. They could pursue their own projects. But in their mind, my success or your success becomes a mirror of what they feel that they lack. So understanding this obsession and envy is really, really important. But recognizing this pattern is crucial. It allows you to separate your own sense of worth in what you've achieved from their behavior. Their attacks or obsessive stalking behavior, which is criminal, are not indicators of your value or your talent. In fact, they often signal that you're doing something right, that your creativity and your visibility are being noticed. But why can't those people see it as inspiration? I don't look at Ed Sheeran and hate him because he's done well. It doesn't make sense to me. In this part, we'll look at reframing negative attention as fuel, which is what I often do. The funniest thing about people who obsess and crave and report is that, and over the past year, this has definitely been a common factor, I double down. I carry on writing. I do another 5,000 words of writing. I write another guitar piece. It doesn't stop me. So instead of allowing envy and obsession to drain your energy, it can be reframed as a source of motivation. And each time that weird obsessive person criticizes or tries to undermine your work, not only should you document it, and report it to the police once it becomes criminal, which it often does, consider what this attention tells you. Get something from it. Turn it into a positive. Why does your music, or your branding, or any of your creative output matter enough to provoke this reaction? And this awareness can guide you in refining your craft, improving your reach, staying consistent with your creative goals, but also building resilience for future. Turning negative energy into fuel involves a few key strategies, and I've learnt this over the past year. Focus on your own growth. No one can stop you from growing. They cannot come into your home studio and take away your keyboard or your guitar. Figure out what's working in your music and marketing. It means you're getting visibility and impact. It's the tip of the iceberg. If one person is obsessed with you, then a bunch of other people actually probably support you. They just don't say it. Second of all, protect your creative space. Now, this is easy because I have a home studio, but often things are online, so it's on your computer. Document harassment. I document everything. I document dislike campaigns on YouTube. I document social media campaigns, messages, comments, everything. Maintain boundaries online and safeguard your accounts. This ensures that external negativity does not affect your workflow or creative confidence. And I like to think of it this way. One person might not realize that they're stalking to a criminal extent until they start stalking every single one of your social media accounts. So if they're attacking 5 of your YouTube accounts and 8 of your Instagram accounts, each one of them consecutively, after you blocked them, which is a clear signal that they shouldn't be stalking and shouldn't continue, because this is my job, document all of that, because they might not realize that they're doing something criminal, but they are. It is criminal. If you block someone on one social media platform and then follow them on another social media platform to confront them, that is harassment. And when that happens over 5, 6, 7 months or a year, then that's criminal. And it doesn't matter where you live. Sorry, rant over. This last part is just some practical advice for musicians. I would say this. Embrace the fact that visibility can provoke envy. Now, for the most part, people leave it alone. But weirdly enough, it's people often who are closest to you who might be the ones who are the most envious. They've seen what you were before. In their mind, they have a set image of what you should be. So it's a natural consequence that if you have any perceived success, which is part of branding and marketing, it's natural for a musician or an author to show that their stuff is successful because that's how they make their money. That's how they brand themselves. A musician or an author doesn't, James Joyce or Stephen King doesn't sit around being depressed and saying, oh, I've only sold 10 novels today. I've only sold 5 books. Or Ed Sheeran doesn't go, hey, I released a new single and I had 100 plays. Life sucks. That's not how branding works. Branding doesn't work that way. You make yourself look successful and create a presence because that's what we do in the online world. But a natural consequence of that success is that people will perceive it and see it in the wrong way, rather than being happy for you, especially if they're unemployed or especially if they're mentally unwell, which is not your fault, but that is a consequence of that. Second of all, build a support system with fellow musicians, friends, mentors who provide perspective and encouragement. That's even things such as looking at forums. Keep a journal or a log of process. If you've just had some criticism, perhaps, or some bad online harassment, first, after reporting it to the police, have a look at your analytics. Refer back to tangible quantitative achievements and growth rather than letting the external negativity dictate your mindset. The last practical advice piece I would say is use it as a chance to reflect on your creative journey. Obviously there was some sort of trigger that person didn't like you, and whether that was irrational, criminal or whatever, use that challenge as a lesson and an opportunity to strengthen your resilience and your clarity. There's always something else around the corner that's going to come up in future. Obsession and envy are part of the creative landscape, especially in a world where visibility is constant and social media amplifies every action. The difference between being overwhelmed by these forces and using them to your advantage is intentional focus and perspective. Every attack, every critical comment, every jealous glance can be redirected into energy that sharpens your music, expands your reach and strengthens your presence as an artist. So whilst they're sat around festering in hatred, awaiting police to come around and perhaps tell them off and give them a warning for attacking you, use that as fuel to get better, to be better, because you'll never be like them. And hope one day that they might see that and they might use you as an example, an inspiration. So by understanding the motivations behind obsessive behavior and maintaining your own creative momentum, it is possible to transform challenges into opportunities. Turn that attention, whether positive or negative or criminal, into fuel for greatness. Keep creating. Get out there, or stay in your studio, and keep growing. Keep using every experience as a stepping stone toward your creative goals. That was a short podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. There are more podcasts if you click on the links above or in my bio. This is Marketing for New Musicians. Thank you for listening.